Welcome to the Rome Business School Business Leadership Development Program. So for our newly enrolled student, this is part of the pre-master's activities that we're having. And for our student, this is also part of the added value for the master's program. And today we are having the Project Management Professional Roundtable. And we are excited to have everybody in this session to participate in this session. Also excited to welcome every one of us in this session. All right, so and we have a very, very interesting topic to look into today. All right, and the topic is on adaptive leadership in a changing project environment. Adaptive leadership in a changing project environment. And we have also with us our moderator for the session for today. That's Mercy. It's Mercy. And we also have our panel members. We are seasoned and experienced professionals in the field of project management, and also they happen to be faculty members of the Rome Business School Nigeria. And we're excited to have every one of them here in this session. And we have our moderator, Mercy Oyeneke. Mercy, are you there? Please confirm if you can hear me.
Mercy is muted, so even if she's talking, you will not hear.
Okay, she is joining now again. All right, Mercy, you can go ahead.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, Mercy, we can hear you.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. It's a round table. And dear participants, good morning, afternoon, or evening to everyone. It depends on where you are joining from. Welcome to today's leadership session hosted by Rome Business School, Nigeria. My name is Mercy Onyeneke, an MSc Projects Management student here at Rome Business School, and I will be moderating this discussion on a topic that is highly relevant in today's dynamic environment: adaptive leadership in a changing project environment. All right, so the topic is about leading with flexibility, clarity, and courage in the face of rapid change and uncertainty and complexity. In today's evolving project landscape, traditional leadership model no longer suffice. Adaptive leadership empowers us to pivot, innovate, and then guide our teams with resilience and purpose. In this session, we'll uncover what it takes to lead effectively when the path is unclear, and how to turn disruptions into opportunities. All right, so please permit me to stand on a protocol of ladies first in introducing our distinguished speakers and panelists. Let's meet them. I have on my list here Dr. Temitope Iluyemi. Country Manager, and Cluster Lead, Emerging Market Africa. Dr. Temitope Iluyemi is the Senior Director and Country Manager for Emerging Markets, African Region. She is a qualified pharmacist. She works with a leading blue chip multinational customer goods company. In her current role, she oversees business operations in over 40 countries across Africa with P&L responsibility and end-to-end business management. In her over 25 years career, she has distinguished herself with a breadth of leadership roles spanning across commercial and corporate functions, general management, sales, market strategy, and planning, supply chain operations, external relations, and government and communications, yeah. In this time, Dr. Iluyemi has lived and worked across 6 countries in Africa, North America, and the Middle East. She is a member of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, sits on several international boards and advisory boards. The Corporate Council on Africa, Montessori BV Harvard Business. And Dr. Iluyemi is passionate about governance, African integration, and solutions, and is a strong gender parity advocate and passionate about people and national development. She is recognized both locally and internationally, including top 100 corporate women leaders in Africa. Her network of about 3,000 distinguished global leaders around the world. Join me to welcome Dr. Temitope Iluyemi. On my second list is Olufemi Ajayi, Outbox Consultant. Olufemi Ajayi is a trained architect with over 20 years of experience in project management. He holds a project management professional PMP certification and a green belt in Six Sigma. Throughout his career, he has contributed to various construction projects, including residential and commercial developments, as well as telecommunications infrastructure. Currently, he serves as a principal consultant at Outbox Consulting, where he is dedicated to creating effective business structures and processes that support diverse organizations in achieving their project and operational objectives. Additionally, Olufemi is actively involved in construction contracting at Bamboo Projects, applying his extensive expertise in project management and business performance improvement to consistently surpass client expectations. He is also a faculty member here at Rome Business School, Nigeria. Olufemi is married and has 2 children. Join me to welcome Ibu Olufemi Ajayi. You're welcome, sir. And on my third is Lambert Ofuebu, PhD. Dr. Lambert Ofuebu is a distinguished scholar practitioner with over 30 years of global experience spanning Africa, the Middle East, Europe, and North America. He serves as lead faculty in project management at Rome Business School, Nigeria, where he leads academic innovation and strategic integration of global standards in project delivery. Dr. Ofuebu holds a PhD in leadership and organizational change from Weldon University, USA, as well as 3 master's degrees in MBA in project management technology, Futo, Nigeria, an MSc in operations and supply chain management, University of Liverpool, UK, and an MSc in applied artificial intelligence and data analytics, University of Bradford, UK. He is a certified process change management practitioner, a chartered procurement professional, and holds several global respected credentials from the Project Management Institute, USA, including Project Management Professionals, PMP Risk Management Professional, Construction Professional, Senior Construction Professional, and Organizational Project Management Maturity Model. Dr. Ofuebu is the theorist of emotional extent efforts, EEE, and contextual excellence. He has made significant contributions to PMI's global standard, co-authorizing the OPM3, the Project Manager Competency Development Framework, and the construction extension to the PM book. He has also served as an item writer and reviewer of PMI certification exams for over a decade. At Rome Business School, he is known for advancing practical values based on learning through frameworks like the hybrid organizational project management, model bridging agile, hybrid and traditional approaches. His teaching is grounded in strategic thinking, ethical leadership, and contextual excellence. Dr. Ofuebu continues to inspire and equip future-focused professionals to deliver sustainable impact in an increasingly complex and digital world. Faculty Code Strategic Leadership and Project Management is no longer optional. It is the new standard. Here at Rome Business School, we prepare professionals to think systematically, lead ethically, and execute the agility in a data-driven world. Welcome on board, Dr. Lambert Ofuebu. All right, so to help everyone flow along, here is how today's session will flow. First, we will begin with each expert's perspectives into the subject matter, and they have 6 minutes each to share with us their perspectives into the subject matter. Then we proceed to the panel session, where I will ask a series of questions that explore the key dimension of the topic today. And then after which, we'll move into question and answer, where our audience will ask or give a feedback on their take away from this session. So we'll begin with our experts sharing their perspective. I'll open the floor first with Olufemi Ajayi. The floor is open, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mercy. My compliments to my co-panelists, Dr. Lambert, Dr. Temitope. It's nice to be on this call with you as we discuss something that is very germane, something that is been eaten into project management leadership for a while, but now can no longer be ignored. Before I proceed, I want to make sure that everybody can hear me and I'm audible. Maybe in the chat box, just type, I can hear you properly, or whatever parlance you want to use. Okay. Okay, so project managers, before now, seen themselves, like the name typically defines, as managers. But we take a deep dive into management at an organizational level, we know there's a big difference between a manager and a leader. And so over the last couple of years, project managers have had to transform or transit to managing tasks and deliverables, to having a long-term view of organizational goals and objectives by delivering one project at a time. So a project manager in itself is most of the time a leader before he is a manager. So that now takes us into where we are today in the world with so much uncertainty and so much volatility. Doesn't really matter what sector you are in now, doesn't matter what industry, from pharmaceutical to banking to construction to real estate. The time to market for everybody now is shorter than it was 10, 15 years ago. So projects seem to be expiring even before they're completed, and the deliverables seem to be no longer market driven by the time we complete, and that's why we have new approaches to project management. Before talking about being an adaptive leader against being the traditional thought of being a leader that we're used to in this part of the world, where we see somebody that sits on top of a tree and everybody takes directions and instructions. That kind of leadership, though a strong part of traditional project management, is not really looking fit for purpose in the context of today's world. Now, we're not saying that they're not projects that traditional leadership is key, especially for a project or an environment that requires strict adherence to laid down rules, processes, and directions. Yes, we can say we need to still hold on to our traditional methods of leadership, but we all know we're living in a world where change happens without us blinking. I was talking to my students a couple of weeks ago, and I said, all of a sudden, I just realized that there were no CD slots in my cars anymore. It creeps on us now. So leaders have got to be agile. They've got to be flexible. Yes, not throwing away structure, not throwing away processes, but we need to be able to find a way to mix, I like saying it, mix rigidity with flexibility. And that's where adaptive leadership comes in. The ability of a leader to understand that, yes, we have long-term objectives, we have long-term goals, but we also need to be able to pivot as we deliver on those goals daily, weekly, monthly, annually. So it's not, in today's world, not so easy or so simple to say we have a 10-year plan, we have a 15-year plan, and we will not deviate. Leaders have to become flexible and be able to change, be able to adapt as situations happen, and they will happen. Nobody planned for COVID, all of a sudden it happened, and threw away people's 15, 20-year plans, kill some businesses, but also give birth to some businesses. So with the volatility also is some positivity. So that is where an adaptive leader needs to be able to harness all that uncertainty to deliver key results to either project or the organization or the organizational goal as a whole. Now, because change comes with a lot of uncertainty, there usually is a lot of pain in the process as well too. So an adaptive leader too needs to be able to lead with empathy, emotional intelligence, understanding that unfortunately, because change happens, some organizations will die, some jobs will be lost. So you need adaptive leadership that is emotionally intelligent to soften the blows of things that will happen while still leading the organization forward. I mean, a lot of businesses in the last couple of years have had to let thousands of people go because of volatility, because of uncertainty. So these are some of the things that leaders now, we cascade down to project managers or project leaders now need to understand now on the project side of things, which is the day-to-day delivery of the organizational objectives. We need to understand that waterfall traditional methods of delivering projects might start having some limitations or some issues. So we need to be adaptable, we need to be flexible. I'd like to close by also saying that the way we used to lead now needs to be less hierarchical, more flat, more engaging, more inclusive, allowing people contribute to leadership. Let there be leadership at all levels of the organization. So in my own understanding of adaptive leadership, this is where the world is tending towards now, leading with agility, leading with emotional intelligence, and leading with everybody along, not a command and control structure largely now, but everybody a leader. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful insights perspective. We have our one and only lady on board. Doki, up to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mercy, and good evening to everyone there, wherever you are. It's really an interesting topic today. Where we're talking about adaptive leadership in the project management environment. But I dare say adaptive leadership is a life skill beyond project management. The most successful people in today's world are those who are able to think on their feet, adjust to their environment and the situations they find themselves in, and turn these changes or these disruptions, as I call them, into an advantage either in business, in project management, or even in general life. My co-panelist here has said a lot about many things to watch out for and to emulate in adaptive leadership. He's talked about several things, comparing the kind of leadership that we need today versus, the command and control that we used to have in the past. I want to take it from several other angles. Adapting our leadership style is critical to success of any project or any business venture as it might be. There are many unforeseens. We can make the best plans and have guardrails and guidelines to achieve them. However, there are many unknowns, there are many unseens. Like you also said, none of us could predict COVID. Actually, at this stage, if we still need to convince anybody on adaptive leadership, then I guess they didn't live through COVID. That single experience for all of us has taught us that nothing should be taken for granted, and you have to think on your feet. Many of us were around there. Many of us were probably working or in some form of institution during COVID. Many of us had to pivot. Many of us had to change. Many of us who had never run either businesses or lectures virtually had to adapt to this, or you lose your business. Many of us had to think about new ways to grow and run our businesses or our projects from wherever we were, without which you cannot, you would have lost 3 years of either business or growth or opportunities. So I'm sure you're all familiar with the saying that innovate or die, adapt or die. It's a natural world order. The world is constantly changing, starting from the theory of evolution, whether you believe in that or not, but even through generations, things are constantly changing. And only those who adapt or who are open to change survive and grow. I think there's also a leader that says, in a rapidly changing world, only the what do you call it? Only the paranoid survive. Again, talking about adaptive leadership. There are many things to focus on adaptive leadership. I also want to link it to what we call constructive disruption. There are many similarities. So we are in a VUCA world, which you would all have heard about the term VUCA, volatile. Maybe somebody can help me complete that. VUCA. So we're in a volatile and unpredictable world where we constantly have to think on our feet. We constantly have to adapt in order to be successful. A few things I'll add to the previous speaker is to stay curious and continuously learn. In the day of technology, in the era of technology, I think this in itself lends itself to the conclusion that if you are not constantly upskilling and reskilling, you become redundant. Many things, many roles that were done in the past 20, 30 years ago today are redundant because we now have computers and now we have artificial intelligence, which is smarter than us. So what are those things that we can do as humans to augment what AI can do? Again, it's part of being adaptive. So we have to ensure that we reskill ourselves. We ensure that the skills that we acquire will lend itself to today's systems. I have been in many situations where there's a long blueprint where an organization produces a certain product, but they're out of touch with either their consumers or even their customers. And they're producing this particular product which has been eliminated. People have moved on to different quality or different standards, but they're focused on producing these great products which they own, but they have refused to adapt. I've had to be in situations where I'm presenting to a supplier and asking them to give us a certain makeup or a certain formulation, and they're trying to convince me of something that was good in the 70s. Now, what happens? Of course, they get eaten up by the young tech companies that are coming up. There are many examples of constructive disruption. You all know about the whole Kodak story, how it's been eaten up by digital cameras. Today, people can make full-length films even just using their phones. So continuous learning is critical. Another very important thing that I would say in adaptive leadership is creating a strong culture in your organization. There's also the saying that culture will eat strategy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can have all the best plans in the world. You can have great strategies. If the culture is wrong, right, you can never make it. You need to have a clear set of principles and values that guide you through turbulent times. It doesn't matter what the situation is. It doesn't matter what the problem is. It doesn't matter whether it's COVID, whether it's financial turn down, a global financial meltdown. It doesn't matter if it is war. For as long as you stay true to your principles and values, you will focus on the end in mind, operate within those principles, and adapt to the environment that you find yourself. Again, people and culture go together. We also have a saying in my company that you can take away everything we have. You can take away our machines, our buildings, our computers, everything. Leave us with our people, and we will rebuild everything all over again. So people are very important. People either make you or they break you. Creating the right team, building the right team, ensuring that your team is enabled, energized, and empowered is very important to driving the right culture and getting the right responses in periods of turbulence. So people and culture, it's critical. I'm sure many of you might be here who might be business owners. You know the importance of this. You have the right team, your business has a strong chance. You have the wrong team, then God help you, as we say. One last thing that I would say before I hand over this, because there are many points on adaptive leadership, right? Still talking about people. Ensure that when you hire right. You hire in line with people who have shared values with your goals, people who have shared values with what you want to achieve, how you want to operate, and who have the right attitude. There's also something I strongly believe in and that I have experienced and practiced over many years. You can train skills, you can train processes, you can reskill people, you can send them to Harvard and teach them, the latest skills in the world. One thing you cannot teach is attitude. We say we hire you for your skills and your knowledge, and we fire you for your attitude. The same thing goes, in when we talk about adapting in a changing world. Having the right mindset is very important. Create a mindset of adaptability. Create a mindset of driving change and adapting to change. We also say that the only thing constant in life is change. Being able to respond to change is critical to success. And as a leader yourself, you need to model this adaptability, model your resilience in the face of change, and embrace people, ask for feedback, carry them along, and make sure that they are in tune with the vision. I'll stop here for now. Thank you.
Mercy, you are muted.
Oh, so sorry. Pardon me. Thank you so much, Dr. Temitope, for that insightful perspective. We have with us Dr. Lambert. Up to you. We would like to hear from what your perspective also is.
Okay, thank you very much, Olufemi. Thank you, Temitope, for laying a very wonderful foundation to this discourse. Before I continue, I want the whole audience to reflect on the topic, and I will read it slowly. Adaptive leadership. So in our mind, we should reflect on the meaning of adaptive, then meaning of leadership. Then in a changing project environment. So there are two things here, not just adaptive leadership, as we all know. The addendum to it is in a changing project environment. So meaning that even if we have been, like Temitope mentioned, rightly mentioned, change did not start today. Being adaptive in leadership is, in fact, it's a lifelong skill. So we can be short, it's not even a discussion. But what is sparking off the discussion today is changing project environment. And I will go back to reflect on what Olufemi mentioned, that sometimes even while trying to envision a project, if you are not careful, it will be outdated. So that's the kind of change we are witnessing these days. So in that context, I will take us to, some research by McKinsey, saying that 70% of transformation effort fail, not because of poor strategy, but due to resistance to change and lack of adaptive leadership. In a similar vein, the World Economic Forum's 2024 Future of Jobs report stated that over 44% of workers' core skills are expected to change by 2027. Temitope touched on that, placing pressure on leaders to constantly upskill teams in real time. Then coming back to the Project Management Institute, that's what PMI publishes every year. They call it Pulse of the Profession. Pulse of the Profession for 2023 found that only 36% of organizations prioritize soft skills like adaptability and resilience in project leadership, despite these being key to navigating disruption. So based on these empirical preambles, I want to tell us that the kind of change we are seeing in projects now is something we have never seen before. That's why I tell people that we are in the era of data revolution. So in the era of data revolution, it brings it to the fore, the magnitude of change before you start talking of how to adapt. You cannot adapt to what you don't know. For instance, in the pharmaceutical industry, like Temitope mentioned, some of the products, they are outdated. Why? Because there are no data. So that's the area I want us to look into, to be able to see the importance of data. What you cannot measure, you do not know, and you can't improve. If you don't know the extent of your consumers, what they require, you can never satisfy their needs. So that's why I am pitching some of these things on data. You know, this topic, if we sit down on this topic, maybe we'll not get up on it this week because there are so many perspectives, there are so many angles, but we can only pick, you know, just a few that can come to mind. Situation, I will take it again to situational leadership. People think, I still go back to what Temitope said, you know, about change. It didn't start today. Even in project management, I hear people shout, hey, agile, you know, we need to be agile, this. Yeah, it's a mindset. Principle of change. I will tell you, I joined PMI in 2001. Right from the time I looked at the edition of PIM book I joined with, you know, before I got certification, there has always been planning being iterative. That's you plan and replan and replan. I think I joined when it was the third edition or fourth edition, I can't remember, of PIM book. There has always been principle of progressive elaboration. Olufemi, you understand what I'm saying? At least you're a PMP. That has always been progressive. So, but what we are discussing now is the magnitude. And why are we discussing the magnitude? Because of things that are happening. Because if we do not, I'm flashing all these things, because if we do not take time, we will have what we call in management the black swan syndrome. People did not know, because when you say when you say swan, you know, this bird that, you know, even we have swan water in Nigeria, people believe that swan is white. And by definition, if you just like, you know, like synonymous with as snow as white. So if you say swan, you believe that it's white. People never knew that there are black swans till they saw it in Australia. And I had an opportunity of visiting somewhere in Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia. I observed a bird like you know, what we say, like a duck, you know, black, but flying as high as any bird I can imagine. So those are surprises. So not to deviate too much, I will also hit on communication. We are now coming to soft skills, the hard skills of what we are talking of, being able to get data in your environment before you can effect adaptive leadership, because you do not lead us into what you don't know. And times are changing fast, you know, in an unsettled manner. You are in a project, and that's why even in IT industry, that people that promote agile, because of the IT software development sector, yeah, because of the nature of the environment, they have phase releases, version 1, version 2, and all that. So why is it so? So that they can tie into the market while they are still in the process of progressive elaboration, because there is no final bus stop. So the bus stop you know today will definitely change maybe in an hour's time. So they deliver to people that are on the bus stops today and now plan for where will the next bus stop be, what do they need to know. Then when I say communication, I'm now bringing the soft side aspect of it because of you work with people. When times are changing, you are duty bound to communicate. And there are ways of communicating both good news, bad news, and you have to learn art of communication and to be able to move people from point A to point B. If not, you will encounter resistance, even for flimsy reasons, just because they don't understand you. Temitope mentioned culture. Culture is there. So how I will summarize the whole thing is having a continuum of traditional leadership and let me borrow the word, agile leadership. And for you to be adaptive, you need to be involved into what I describe as hybrid. So the extent of hybrid in the continuum depends on the situation you find yourself, depends on the data you have, the information you have. So if it is on a fast-paced environment, you tweak to, I'm just suggesting probably 80% agility because you need to be moving, but do not, like Olufemi mentioned, do not forget the basic principles of management. We may call it staff and command and all that, but it brings processes. I have mentored and spoken to so many young people that just flew in and learned about Agile, and they tell you, no, traditional project management is outdated. No, it's not. It depends on where you are operating, the industry you're operating, but you need to tweak to have what I say hybrid. Even in construction industry, which I grew up before going into business processes and all that, there is still room for agility. After all, if we say you must have approval because of the industry before you make certain change, does not mean that you have to wait for a weekly Monday meeting to have the change. It still does not mean monthly meeting, because if you do that, things will be outdated. That is being adaptive. In terms of being adaptive, you can, as ordinary as WhatsApp group chat, let me not even go into deep technology. Create a WhatsApp group. This is what we have on site from what we are seeing, situational. This will not work. I hereby request for change. They look at it within seconds. Anybody that didn't, you usually have a way of seeing who has seen or read. You pick a phone and call. Please, I made some suggestions. Look at it. This thing can happen within 2 minutes and you effect your change. Maybe even there are ways of using technology to sign documents, DocuSign. We use it in lease agreement, so technology has come to stay. For you to be adaptive in leadership, you have to embrace technology. And, I wish all of us a good long ride, because AI technology is relevant in the discussion of today. Let me pause here and we'll continue. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Lambert, for this insightful perspective. Olufemi, we're grateful. The takeaway there is that we should make sure everybody is seen as a leader. So we're all a leader. Thumbs up to you, sir. And then our one and only lady on board, my Doki. Well, the takeaway there says we should stay curious and continually learning to improve ourselves, creating a strong culture. He who lacks culture, I guess, lacks everything. And then Dr. Lambert, thank you so much. You advised us to embrace technology, and then we should be involved in hybrid depending on the data that we have with us. So on that note, we'll move straight to our panel sessions. I'll be taking some few questions. Please, you have 2 minutes to answer these questions. We need to manage time. We're a bit late. And then I'll start with Dr. Lambert. What are the core principles that distinguish adaptive leadership from traditional leadership styles in project environments?
Okay, yeah, I will just, because of time, I will just be point blank. There are 3 basic core principles I can highlight. I made a case for data in my intro pitch, and that data I will term it to be number 1, which I can term diagnosing the system. In that diagnosing the system, you cannot improve what you don't know. You need to be able to, as an adaptive leader, look beyond technical issues and cover root causes. If I say data equally, it's not just, will I say, customer behavior. It equally involves our team's behavior. So, but how do you improve what you don't know? It starts by assessment, diagnosing the system so that you can make the necessary improvement and the necessary change. Then the number 2 point I can think of rightly is regulating distress. For us to be adaptive, this principle takes us to being able to manage the heat of the system. We need to kind of be confident because of knowledge we have, because we have done extensive research. If I say research, if I say data, it doesn't mean that we should have all the infrastructures. There are commercial databases, which if you put your eyes down, people in the fast-moving consumer goods, there are prompts you can make. You see where the trend is going, both internally and externally, and you'll be able to know what you are up to so that you can inspire change, but not so much, as a burnout. It's only when you understand the trends and what is happening, even with your team, that you can say, oh, this is the right information, this is the right communication, this is the way to go. It is only when you know all these things that you can be adaptive.
All right, thank you.
Then,
thank you so much, sir. Thanks.
Yeah, okay.
Our Doki, I'm so proud looking at your beautiful face. Can we hear from you, Dr. Temitope? What's your take on this?
Thank you, Mercy. On the same topic, there are many aspects to it. Like Dr. Lambert said, this is a topic that we can discuss for the next 3 days. Right. We're talking about adaptive leadership in project management. Like we said, we first must recognize change and we must accept change. We must also expect change because they say that hindsight is 2020. Sometimes you only come to realize what needed to have been done after stuff has happened. Now, like Dr. Lambert also said previously, in certain situations, it needs to be a combination of traditional management and adaptive leadership styles. It really depends on several things. It depends on the kind of project you're leading. It depends on the type of team that you have, the level of experience of the team that you have. It also depends on how fast the environment is changing. But in all these situations, being able to adapt to changing circumstances is key. There are situations whereby direct and guide is what is needed. You can reference that in cases of situational leadership that was mentioned earlier on. And there are also, in many cases, when you move more to adaptive style of leadership, you want to give more autonomy to the team in certain situations, as long as you have laid the foundation for addressing the goal in a principled way that aligns with the values of the company. So that's where you adapt. You also adapt even within these situations. So where there is the tone from the top, always very important. You cannot overemphasize the importance of leadership, guiding, and setting the tone for where the organization needs to go. However, the how is something that you need to adapt, with the team as you go along. In today's world, just being an autocratic leader doesn't work anymore. I'll give an example of, we all talk about Gen Zs today. It's again all about adaptability. I have seen the gamut of generations walk through, from the people where in the office you have to call sir, to the situations where everybody is on first name basis, and people just walk up to you and state their case. In the past, you would knock on the door, wait to be given permission to enter before you go in, and then state your case. Again, so just looking at the changing environment, how are we adapting as leaders to even our teams, right? If you don't apply emotional intelligence, if you don't apply knowledge and understanding and imbibing what drives, let's say, this generation, I'm just picking on the Gen Z in this case, what drives them, you will lose them. If you think about a business that wants to transcend its generation, you need to adapt. You need to bring this new generation along. I know they've gotten a bad rap, and I'm just picking on Gen Zs today, but then so did the millennials in their time, right? But as leaders, our job is, we're not going to be in our jobs forever. We should not aspire to be in our jobs forever. How do we bring the younger generation in line? Again, creating the foundation of the right principles, the right values, the right culture that drives productivity in any environment that they find themselves. I've had to learn a lot of Gen Z lingo to understand, what drives them, what inspires them. I learn from my kids. I learn from my mentees as well. I think it was Dr. Lambert who mentioned, creating role models and mentoring other people. Critical in this case of adaptive leadership, whether it's in project management, but like I keep saying, adaptive leadership for me is a life skill. You can apply it in any aspect of your life, whether it's work or whether it is personal. I tell my mentees that you are not just going to take from me. I also learn from you. What does learning from you help me do? It helps me to adapt my style to ensure that I am impacting you in the way that actually benefits you and enables you to achieve the end goal. So for me, while you have I just close it. While you have a combination of both, I think the case is already set for adaptive leadership in strategies in every situation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doki. All right, so to you, Olufemi, what's your take on this topic as well?
Okay, so I think my co-panelists have basically said everything. I just want to add one thing, and I think I picked it up from Simon Sinek. There's a difference between failing and falling, and it has guided my leadership journey since I watched that video. So Failing has a sense of finality. Falling means I can stand up and get up and try and do it all over again. So that is at the core of adaptive leadership, where continuous learning, allowing people to fail, allowing people to experiment, allowing people to fail, as against the traditional method of leadership that was more goal-driven, more result-driven. Yes, we're not saying adaptive leadership does not say we should have results at the end of the day, but it also encourages, and I like the Gen Z side that Dr. Temitope has brought into it, because that's how they learned. A lot of them learned differently from how we learned. The society embraces their mess, allows them to learn through their mess. I have a 3-year-old, yes, I say that. So I see him learning through his mess. And when I was younger, if I was creating that mess, somebody would have said, what are you doing there? Clean that up. But now, so they live in a different time. So the leadership has to be different to address people growing up differently from us. So I think adaptive leadership will help, because it will give them that environment. I mean, you see all these blue chip companies, the Googles, the Metas, some of them even create a time band within your normal 9 to 5 where you can go off and just work on something else. And that's how Gmail came about. A staff just working on ideas in his head. And it is cultured. And I like what Dr. Temitope said. It has to be culturally driven. It has to be woven into the fabric of organizations, that we are going to lead differently. We're going to allow people to be innovative. We are going to allow people learn, fail, and learn at the same time. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. The take home here is a common language, emotional intelligence, allowing people to learn, that freedom, to allow them adapt, and you too adapting to get to understand better. So it's a two-way thing. You're learning from them and they're also learning from you, but you have to create that room to make them feel that impact of leveraging on what you would like them to learn. So with this, it drives me to the second question on emotional intelligence. How does emotional intelligence play a role in adaptive leadership effectiveness during project turbulence? I will begin this with Olufemi. Please, can we start with you? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I think at the heart of today's leadership, I don't know about leadership 20 years ago, 30 years ago, because I wasn't in leadership then. But if you are not an emotionally intelligent leader in today's world, you will hit your head against walls. Because at the end of the day, I'm a student of this very popular quote. Instead of doing the job of 10 men, I'd rather put 10 men to work. So how do you put 10 men to work? 10 men with different views of life, different mindset, different attitude to work. So you've got to be able to engage people almost at a personal level. So the project manager's job is harder now. So you've got to be able to drive people, get people to work while knowing them on an individual level. And it gets even more difficult where the project is turbulent. So I see myself, I talk to them in the class sometimes. I say, okay, what if you're the project manager of Dangote Refinery? All those years that people were saying it's a failed project, it's run over budget, it's gone beyond the time. How do you drive and motivate your team to come back to work on a Monday morning with the same zeal? We started the project 8-9 years ago, a project that was supposed to take 3 years. We are 4 years overboard. It's tough. So that is where project managers need to earn their border. It's got to be not, I don't want to throw away, I'm not of the school of thought that says out with the old, in with the new. I feel there's a lot to learn from the structure of traditional project management, the framework, processes that create. So it's like the old way shows you how to cook, but the new way just gives you a kitchen and tells you to cook whatever you want to cook. So that's how I want to look at it. So you have to find a way to get through people of different demographic, ethnic backgrounds, different upbringing, and put them together to make a team work. especially in turbulent times. So you've got to be able to see who is struggling, who is not meeting up with pressures and the demands. You might need to shuffle around people. You might need to take somebody out, give them a timeout. I don't want to put them in a time box. They didn't do anything wrong, but I'm just saying, take 2 days off, take 3 days off. We'll cover for you. Come back refreshed, come back energized. Nobody will teach you that. That's the funny thing about emotional intelligence. There's no classroom to put you into. You've just got to learn as you go. And Dr. Lambert will agree, a lot of the inputs as a project manager in most processes is expert judgment. What you've learned over the years, the experiences you've garnered over the projects you've done. This is where they say the rubber meets the road. This is where you earn it. So emotional intelligence is key in today's world. Things are changed. Like I mentioned earlier, you might have to let people go. Project might not be able to sustain the team anymore. So how do you do that? Somebody's suddenly out of a job. How do you tell them they don't resume on Monday? So how do you say it? See, there's a way you say it that makes the person not lose hope and feel that there's still a future out there for them. So a lot of that, and it's different if you're all in the same organization. So it's not if the person is leaving the organization, but the person is leaving the team. So the person will see you on Monday morning and look at you as a project manager that picked them off project. So you've got to be able to manage all of these things. And unfortunately, there's no school for it. You just got to learn it. Those are the soft skills Dr. Lambert is talking about. They become key in today's world. You've got to learn it. While you're learning the hard skills, you've also got to learn the soft skills at the same time.
Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Lambert, he was just mentioning your name continually. Please, what's your take on this?
Emotional intelligence. As an adaptive leader, it's like two-edged sword. One on your side, the other one on your team. I'll just use the general word team. So on your side, you have to recognize and regulate your own emotions. We have had a lot from Dr. Temi about Gen Z and all that. If you have their perspective, you need to stay cool. We are using it as using Gen Zs as kind of extreme, but it happens across board. And being able to get their own aspect of their own emotion, you need to be a good listener. You need to have empathy before you can react to be able to meet them. And it may not equally take much. So let's not think that listening to them will be to go out of the way. Just by being a good listener, you have isolated your own biases, bringing your own emotion into it, and see things from your team's perspective so that you can be able to lead accordingly. Another thing is you need to read emotional landscape generally, sensing the team anxieties, knowing conflict, knowing how to, douse down disagreements early before it turns to something very difficult. Then build trust and empathy. That is the winning goal. When people know that you are very empathic, it means that they will trust you and you'll be able to move them from point A to B regarding change. And generally, leadership is the ability to move your people to do what is in the plan for them to do. So if you're able to do that, you have done it through emotional intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. All right, my one and only lady on board. Up to you. What's your take, ma'am?
Thank you again, Mercy. And having listened to the two speakers, I'm not sure there's much more I can add to that. Emotional intelligence is critical to adaptive leadership. In the business world, you would have also seen in many cases that the face and the requirements for leadership is changing. Gone are the days where We hire people for their toughness and their, ability to drive things to the end. While all those are very important, the methodology has changed. Today, there's a lot more that is done by driving relationships, by building relationships. Also depends on the context of your environment. One thing I have learned consistently through my career is the importance of relationships. You never know when you're going to have to call upon them on it. Now, when we talk about project management in turbulent times, this critical element of building strong relationships and managing diverse stakeholders becomes even more important. When things don't go as planned, this becomes even more important. If at the stage where things don't go as planned, you have not cultivated relationships, you have not engaged in driving stakeholder management and relations, you're going to be left adrift. Like you don't even know what to do. You don't even know which button to press at that time. We've talked about having empathy. We've talked about the ability to, the importance of listening. In my culture, we say there's a reason why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should listen twice as much as you speak, especially when you're meeting new people, you're meeting stakeholders, or particularly you're talking to the younger ones. Listen, there's a lot of things that are not being said that you can pick up through listening. This lends itself to adaptive leadership because you learn what is unsaid, you learn to link the dots to understand the trend and what is coming in future. You can even pick up nuances from people's tones in conversations. In having casual conversations, like Mr. Olufemi said, just taking someone out and having a conversation with them, you learn a little bit more about their drivers. Understanding what drives somebody is like an ace in your hands because you can tailor your proposal, anything to ensure that you address the need in that person. So I mean, there's no gainsaying that emotional intelligence is a core and critical requirement for delivering on adaptive leadership.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. So another word for us is listening. Be a good listener. Share in their one-on-one feelings, emotions. Be part of them. Let them feel you. And then that way you're able to manage. Another thing here is winning trust. Okay? From Olufemi, the takeaway there is knowing them individually. Who wouldn't feel loved when you know a lot about me, and outside that, the fact that I report to you or work with you, you know some personal things like the things I like and how I do or how I feel. I mean, it makes me more committed and wanting to see you all the time. Having a good listening ear, said, according to our one and only lady in the house, it said, listen tries. So please, listening here is a key word for us to take home. We listen. So on this, it takes me to the next question, which has to do with attitude and culture. Okay, if we must listen, it has to be an inbuilt thing. It has to be a culture that we build around us. And it takes me to the next question, which says, how can organizations cultivate a pipeline of adaptive project leaders to navigate future disruptions? It's like a lot of people don't really listen. Sometimes you're trying to drive in something that is going on with you or what is not going down well with you. And what they see is just the results. You have to get this result done, not minding how you go about getting that result done. So please, I'll begin with the lady, my one and only. Permit me to call you this name, my one and only. Permitted. After today, I'll retain it. All right, okay. So I'll begin with you. The floor is open.
Thank you very much. You talk about how organizations can cultivate a pipeline of adaptive leaders. It's really all about intentionality, right? Be intentional in driving the culture that that delivers on your core objectives. I say that, I always tell people that be the change that you want to see. It's not enough for us to say, we'd like to see it this way, or we talk all types of theories about the right leadership styles. What are we role modeling ourselves? What are we role modeling as leaders? If you use children as an example, you can talk from now till the cows come home. They are watching what you do, not what you say. But before you finish saying it, it's gone in from one ear and out the other. It's the same in organizations. People watch what you do. People watch how you respond during crisis. People watch what values you defer to, when there's a problem or when there's a difficult decision to make. Do you default to your core values, or do you just wing it by the moment? Being intentional in driving culture is, I think, the critical thing here to ensure that we have this pipeline. I have done many roles, many completely different roles, many diverse roles, and there's only one thing that keeps driving me to succeed in each role, even when I start off with not knowing anything about it, is that curiosity. So we must ensure that we build a culture of curiosity within our teams, encourage them to ask questions. When we talk about the difference between the traditional leadership and adaptive leadership, is the ability for people to question the norm, question the status quo, welcome it, because that's the only way we can all adapt, grow, and catch on with the trends that will enable us to succeed. Encouraging cross-functional experiences between teams is very important. Make sure that this person understands, puts on your shoe, understands where the shoe pinches on the other side. Because when you understand where the shoe pinches, when you're about to take a decision, you will factor in the impact it's going to have on the other group or on the other team in that decision making. If I take it down to very basic regular life, people often say, oh, I didn't mean to hurt you, when something goes wrong, and they do things the way they know how. But it's kind of like a lame excuse. If you are being intentional, if you thought first about how that person will feel based on your actions or your words, you will adapt your style to ensure that that person gets the actual message and doesn't go back with a negative feeling. This again in itself lends itself to project management, to business management, and several other situations. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, my one and only. All right, so Olufemi, what's your take on this?
Okay, I think I'll just continue where she stopped. I like the fact that you have to be intentional. You have to build it into the culture, and it's got to be noticed. It's got to be seen. And like Dr. Lambert said several times, you've got to be able to measure it. So how are we doing? How are we doing from how we were leading before? What are the key metrics? When we see it, we see what we like, then we have to reinforce it. So for example, I used to manage a company where we were all on first name basis. But for the life of me, some people just could not do it. People struggled to call me by my first name until I started imposing fines so that if you call me Mr., you pay a fine. Yes, you've got, so there has to be some form of intentionality to what you want to see. Also, you've got to be able to, one of the key tenets is trying to make sure, I know it's difficult, have a not so vertical, but close to a horizontal structure that would allow that kind of feedback that Dr. Temitope was talking about too, that allows people to be encouraged to walk into an open door of a senior executive and give their own opinion and give their own suggestions. That culture, it cannot be wished in. It has to be created. It has to be molded in over a period of time. Then when you see the progress, then when you see the changes that you desire, then you need to reinforce it. When I say reinforce it, you can reward it. you can acknowledge it, you can celebrate it, say, okay, we're going in the right direction. But like Dr. Temitope said, it's got to be intentional. Senior management driven, unfortunately, meaning that senior management will lose some of their powers in parentheses. But if that is the kind of leadership that you want for your organization, you have to take the bold decisions to make. And the thing about behavior is that after a while, behavior becomes culture. So you've got to start from the building block of changing behavioral patterns, attitudes, then you can now see the culture that you desire. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Lambert, can we hear your take on this as well?
Yeah, my fellow panelists, they have said quite a lot, and I stand on that. Then to add, there is what we call the concept of learning organization and organizational learning. So if we say learning organization, it refers to the process of knowledge creation, retention, and transfer within an organization. So that is on one side. Then if we say organizational learning, means the type of organization that actively fosters and facilitates this learning process. So my input will be based on this, because what we are looking at is, how do you create pipeline of adaptive leaders? What comes to mind is, I mentioned mentoring programs before. And good enough, I participated in one of the PMI standards. I co-authored one of the PM standards where we call what we call Project Manager Competency Development Framework. So how does it work? For you to be that's in terms of an organization, in the bandwidth of organizational learning and learning of organization, and keep a pipeline of adaptive leaders, you have to, first of all, work with the human resources, identify your future leaders, being and able to create a competency development framework. Because back in the days, there's one slogan: don't blame them for not teaching them. So it means, mentoring those people based on the competencies they require to be able to be adaptive in leadership. That's one of it. Then creating a culture that rewards learning. So in creating that, yeah, you'll be able to, incentives. Are you getting certified in this? Are you going for this training? We'll pay for you. If you do it by yourself, come, we will refund you. Things like that. And identify nature and the heat of early seekers that want to improve. So those are the things I have to add in terms of learning and being in the pipeline of being an adaptive leader in an organization.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I'll begin from my one and only. Our take there is that we should always be intentional. I love that word, being intentional, wearing the same shoe with other people, knowing where it pinches. That way you understand them better, okay? Be the role model yourself. You can't give what you don't have. Be that role model yourself. Give what you expect from other people. Treat him the same way you would be treated. If you want me to love you so much, I should be able to show love first. That way, like Dr. Lambert said earlier, you build trust. That way you earn respect. Respect, I am sure it's not by force. You don't force it. You earn it. And how do you earn it? Is by what you give. Your attitude, the manner of approach, And then another take home I have from my one and only is to welcome questions. The Gen Zs are the headline of today's discussion. So open your mind to welcome any question from them. That makes you adaptable. And then from Olufemi is acknowledging and celebrating all the milestones. It doesn't matter how little it is. When you celebrate them, you motivate them to be more committed, right? So sharing success stories also. And then finally from Dr. Lambert, training for skills and competency enhancements, right? So you want to see them on the top, build them to get to that top. All right, so on this note, I would open the floor for our audience. I don't know if they have questions to ask or if they have some feedback for us. So the floor is open, our able audience. I'm sure you can hear us. So if you have questions, please identify by raising your hand, or you can post your question on the chat box. We will read it for our panelists to answer your question. Hello. If you have question, okay, I'm having some hands raised here. Okay.
All right, Ikechukwu Kalu, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you, the panelists. You've done a very good job.
Thank you.
I just want to emphasize on one thing I'm taking out of this. So many things, but just one of them, you know. Dr. Lambert mentioned situational leadership. You see, and most time this contracts with our emotional landscape, or let's say emotional intelligence. You see, this mindset that we've developed, that things are fast changing, that maybe what we know now, what the next person wants to say might even be, might have made up what we know obsolete. You know, this idea most time is makes us to, you know, spend much time on a single activity, because you are afraid that what you are trying to stamp on might have just been absolute and you don't know. I'll use a typical example. You know, we've had a team of like a team of 4 just to review a certain document. And let's say when you have members in a team that are well respected, you know, they are subject matter experts, you know, but then again, what you've presented in this given situation, you believe it will work and it's supposed to work. And you've created a timeline. Okay, let's use 3 days to review this. Okay, you see a situation that because we know that this person here is a subject matter expert, this person will now say, okay, I can't meet up in 3 days, I'll meet up in 5 days. And because we've developed this mindset that, this thing that we are trying to stamp on now, let's give this person another 5 days, extra days. And the person will come back, it will still be the same thing that you've presented earlier. Okay, another person, because you have this emotional intelligence that this person, okay, is a subject matter expert, might be bringing something better than what we even have. And you see, most times, these people, because of the relevance or kind of thing that are reference that are attached to them, they will drag something that is supposed to last for 3 days. Some will take it for 10 days. No, I don't have time to review this now. And they will still come back to the same thing at the end of the day. So this is a problem to me. How do we manage this situational leadership and emotional intelligence? How do we draw the line and know that in this situation, this is what to do? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ikechukwu, for that question. Do I have? All right, My one and only, Dr. Temitope, would you like to say something on that, his question, the question that Ikechukwu asked?
Thanks. I really felt the question was directed to Dr. Lambert, but I'll take
I wanted to mention him, but I said, let me start on the existing protocol. Ladies first.
It's okay.
Okay. Okay, let's change the protocol. Ladies first, after gentlemen.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Let me just wrap.
Just joking. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll just say a few words and I'll hand it over to you. There was a lot said by the person asking the question, but really, both situational leadership lends itself to adaptive leadership. Being able to adapt your leadership style within specific situations in itself is adaptive leadership. The difference simply is that in adaptive leadership is more general leadership style, and situational leadership is very specific and it changes per day, per event, per project, per time, and also depending on the kind of team that you have, the level of experience, the level of maybe juniors, the number of juniors in the team, and the kind of complexity of the task at hand. So it is, I would say, an adaptive leadership style must also include situational leadership. Let me put it that way, and I'll hand it over to Dr. Lambert.
All right, so Dr. Lambert.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Temi. When Ikechukwu was saying this, I remember the project I handled, very tricky one, and I'm collaborating with Dr. Temi. That project, somebody called me that is a very critical project, as simple as a wedding ceremony. But in that wedding ceremony is for a high-profile family. I wouldn't mention the name. Good. There were supposed to be government functionaries. There were supposed to be traditional leaders and a lot of protocol. And the family begged me that I will have a bonus. I won't mention the amount too, if I was able to bring the whole audience to the church at one time. You know, it was a very tricky project. I said, okay, that's fine. Remember, don't lose touch that we are discussing situational leadership and complexity. So I now said, the concept of African time. There is nothing in this world that will make all the obas and traditional rulers, even if they want to come to the church, to come exactly by 11 a.m. for the wedding ceremony. There is nothing on this world that you will make our government functionaries to be there at the same time. And I said, okay, I took up the challenge. I did some studies, data. I remember I usually say data. Tell me the statistics, you know, the trend of attendance for this kind of a thing. Then I got all the statistics. I now said, okay, for traditional rulers, they need 2 hours because some of them will want to come in when the church service would have ended. And, you know, they just go to reception if they want to go. Government functionaries, theirs was about the same time. I said, okay, that's fine. I told the family I will manage it. How did I manage it? The same invitation card, I changed the time for government functionaries. The wedding was 11 o'clock, I put 9 o'clock. The same thing for traditional rulers. So, so they all congregated by 11, you know, plus or minus, and I had my bonus. So what am I trying to say here? Know your team. Temi mentioned it. You being intentional and knowing your team you're equally adaptive. Forget the outcome, because you understand that this is the characteristics of this person. He will use 3 days to review this. So why giving him to get a turnaround today? That is number one. And again, let's not lose the sight for the fact that you gave somebody something, the person reviewed, as I believe that the person reviewed it. Let's not go into details, whether he did or he did not. And he comes back with the same thing. Does not take away that process. You will have your fingers burnt if anything was too bad and nobody reviewed it and it bounces back on you. So that's the thing. Then there's a technique I want to equally tell us the project. When you are making your plans, not just only within you turn out a plan and you want others to buy into it. Not only within your team, I used to use facilitated workshop. If you're able to get even the person that will review to be part of that facilitated workshop, it makes everything agile. It means that the review will just be to make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And
Right.
so thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I have a question on the chat box, and it's not directed to any of my panelists here, but then I would begin this question with Olufemi. The question is from Deji Balogun, and it reads, in your experience, what are early indicators that a project environment, right, is beginning to shift? And how can leaders proactively respond and carry the team along to embrace change?
Is a Harvard question. Okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, also, depending on the type of project management framework you're using, you are, as you're executing and you're monitoring and controlling, you're looking for key parameters. So the simplest one that I'll use for any project manager is your triple constraint. So you're already going over budget, you're already going beyond your timeline. As you're looking at your Gantt chart, you're seeing that you're 3 days late, 4 days late, 5 days late. So those are your early indicators before even the entire macro environment starts to close down on you. So first thing I'll ask is that before the project starts, you have your key indicators to show how you are progressing, monitoring your project, monitoring how well, you're not only monitoring your deliverables, you're also monitoring the quality of your project as well. So you're monitoring both of these things at the same time. So you see that, like Dr. Lambert said now, you can guess that somebody has asked for a bit more days to review a process or to deliver on a task. And maybe he has buffered with 3 days. And by day 2, you're not going to wait for the 3rd day, because by then you're already late. So those are the things you start looking out for. So that kind of person, if I'm doing my schedule, I know this guy is 3 days. It's 3 days, is 7 days. So I won't even put 3 days in the first place. I'm going to keep a buffer in my schedule for that particular so it depends on the project that you are running and the key parameters that you're looking out for. But the main thing that for me is that how can you carry the team along? Because like I tell my students when we are in class, I know you have different stakeholders, the client and all that. For me as a project manager, one of my key stakeholders is the team. I lead with the team. I execute with the team. So if the team is not sensing that something is going wrong, we are all in trouble. So in your regular meetings, whether stand-ups, status reports, you start highlighting the issues before they become complicated. So you're already seeing that there's a task, there's a long lead item that is 1 month long, and by day 24, day 25, you have not gained traction. That's a problem. You don't wait for it to happen. So you start looking for ways to remedy the situation and to claw back time. But this is why we're in this class. We're saying that you need to be adaptive and not just sit and assume that everything will go along. always expect change. Always expect that the environment will change. And I think that's what Dr. Temitope said. We're in the area of self-destruction. Even when things are not going wrong, tell yourself that things are going wrong, just so that you can be alert, you're not relaxed, and you're looking out for those key indicators, those key issues that will ultimately make your project clear. So, for example, as I close, Dangote Refinery, they see that they borrowed money at a certain rate of the dollar, and the dollar price has changed. That there's no way, it's already impacting on the cost of the project. So you start looking for ways to make things. And one of the smart things they did was get dollar directly from government. So you have to be ahead of it and make sure that you have a remedy in place before everything goes wrong. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I have another question here. I'm still continuing with you, Olufemi. This question is specifically for you. The person mentioned your name, Mr. Olufemi. You'll find him. Oh. He said Mr. Okay, so he says, what is your opinion on closed door policy by the executive, and also request his subordinate to take permission from his secretary, right? Oh, I think I lost that question. Sorry, let me go back.
Yeah,
Okay.
before getting
To take permission from his secretary before getting access.
Okay, so I mean, Mr. Expert, is this a company policy or executive's own personal policy? So if it's not the organizational policy, thankfully, that is not culture. So that means it is situated with this particular executive. So I would say for straight away, this leader is leading in a silo, and it's dangerous to lead within a silo, because that means you are in your own bubble. Whether you like it or not, information across the organization is useful. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. It could be coming from the driver. I told someone, I was in an organization one day, the first people you see at the gate of the organization is the security. They're the ones that receive the customer. The customer sits there, fills a form before they even inform somebody inside that there's a guest. So when I went to my friend, was the general manager, I said, have you guys realized that probably one of the most key sources of information, of data, are those security guards? Number one, they do not belong to the organization. They are third party. So you are losing a valuable opportunity for excellent customer service. So somebody that doesn't really have the vision of the organization at heart is the first person your customer sees. I think that's an issue. So if you want to keep that, I think you should own that process. So information is available right through the organization. Keeping yourself closed, they call it closed door policy. I've never had one. Keeping say a closed door policy. Yes, there might be a reason for it. So I don't want to knock the executive, but I think there's value in having, I've always loved the flat leadership structure, not totally flat, but at least that engenders people to be able to have access right across the organization. So what I'll say to this executive is, yes, this might work for you, but I think you can do much more. Your leadership can be so much more effective if you allow people share ideas, have more open lines of communication with people than just restricting people and keeping yourself in a silo. There are some things, even by the time you're standing in front of a board, that clerk sitting just outside the office could have helped you with, and you won't have that information. And the senior executive that has an open door policy will be telling you about that information right there in the boardroom. That happened to me before.
All right, thank you. I have another question here from Peter Uko. Peter, I hope I pronounced that surname right, Uko, right? Okay, so the question says, how can project leaders effectively foster an adaptive organizational culture that continuously integrates emerging global best practices and technologies to overcome unforeseen challenges and ensure sustainable project success? Dr. Lambert, can we hear you say something on this question? Let's begin with you before my one and only.
Yeah, thank you. I said something on learning organization and organizational learning.
Okay.
So if we reflect on that, learners are leaders, leaders are learners. So if you want to remain relevant I wouldn't even want to say next dispensation, because the way things are moving in this dispensation, not to talk of next, you need to be knowledgeable. How do you get knowledgeable? Check competencies required. Apart from competencies required, you need to read management digests, research, and so that you know what the trend is and what the future holds for us. That's just the bit I can say here. Thank you.
All right, and my one and only, what's your take on this question?
I'll just build on what Dr. Lambert has said. It's also, while you build skills, you build knowledge, you also need to follow the trends. You need to understand change as it happens around you. In many cases, except for the exceptions of, sudden financial crisis or COVID or things that we could not predict, most change is happening slowly around us. Are you in touch? And there are many ways for you to stay in touch. Beyond reading, it's also about engagements like this, learning forums, being networking, for instance, can help you to understand trends. Are you in touch with colleagues at your level? So, for instance, if you're a CEO, are you part of other CEO groups? Understand what pains they're going through, because it's going to come to your shop, right? There is this syndrome called the boiled frog syndrome, talking about change that is constantly happening around us. Before it finally hits us in the face, something is already going on. You can see bits and pieces of it. For instance, this AI revolution didn't happen overnight. We saw it coming. We saw it coming. Many people failed to adapt. Many people failed to get onto that wagon. So don't be a boiled frog. For those who don't understand what the boiled frog syndrome is, if you drop a live frog in boiling water, it will jump out with its long legs. But if you put a live frog in cold water and you heat it slowly and it starts to heat up and boil, the frog will become comfortable, will have no feeling of any danger until it gets boiled. So don't be a boiled frog in any situation. I'll leave it at that.
Oh my goodness, I won't forget this. Thank you so much, my one and only. That's a good one there. Boiled frog syndrome. Remember that at all times, please. Okay, so I think I have one more question. Please, we won't be able to take everybody's question, but I will just take this last one and then we'll wrap up from there. I have Maxine Okon. Maxine Okon's questions reads, when talking about adaptive leadership, how do we handle toxic attitude from a high-tech team member? My one and only, can we have you say something on that, because we're leveraging more on this boiled frog syndrome? I think is related to that.
Yeah, thank you, Mercy. This is an issue, unfortunately, that many people would have to deal with, in projects on a daily basis. The job is never hard. It's people that tend to make the work hard. I will go back to the culture of the organization that you find yourself. Does this culture lends itself to that toxicity? If it doesn't, then you have an avenue for redress in those kind of cases. Where this is coming from, let's say, for instance, the owner of the company, then you have to make a choice, right? Does the values of that individual align with yours? Does it affect your ability to deliver your best and bring yourself to work? Sometimes it's not, not everything is about this bread and butter. Your mental health is important. Your ability to grow is important. And growth comes in many ways. Growth can simply come from being able to express yourself, from being able to share your ideas, and from being able to feel like a complete part of the team. All these things enable growth. So sometimes we all have to just sit around and take stock of where we are, what we contribute, what we are also getting from the positions where we are at, and make a decision. I always tell people, be the change, lead the change that you would want to see.
All right, thank you so much on that. Our final question here, please. What final advice would you offer to aspiring project leaders trying to lead adaptively in unpredictable project environments? I will begin this question with Olufemi as we wrap up.
All right, simple, be flexible. You've chosen a very good path in your leadership journey. You will succeed in these times that we are in today. Be adaptable. Don't wish away structure, because as we've been discussing, somebody might want to believe that we're not saying structure is good. Yeah, some structure is good, but also structure should not trump flexibility. Be a lifelong learner. Understand that in your innovative journey, you will make mistakes. Mistakes doesn't mean you failed. Mistake just means you've learned, and then you find better ways of doing things. Understand that people are one of your greatest assets, and the more people you have on your side is more important than you have on the other side. So lead with compassion, lead with empathy, lead with, as we've been saying all day, lead with emotional intelligence, understanding people where they are on a one-on-one basis. And of course, also understand that this entire journey is also to be enjoyed. So don't take yourself too seriously as a leader. Sometimes also enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, and I think you're on the right path already.
Okay, please. I have someone who keeps hammering here. He says his hand has been raised since. Please, can we just allow this person to ask or give us a feedback? Peter Godwin, are you there? Peter Godwin, you said your hand has been raised since and nobody is recognizing it. So please, we recognize it right now. Can you ask your question, or if what you have is a feedback? Peter Godwin.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's actually Pastor Godwin, not Peter, please.
Oh, Pastor Godwin. Sorry, Pastor Godwin.
Sure. So I did not say my hand was raised up. You saw my hand raised up, but that's by the wayside. I want to appreciate our panelists. They've done a great job, more than I expect. But if I had expected less, it would be I didn't do justice to their CV or their credentials or their worth. So I want to appreciate them so much. They've impressed so much knowledge to me personally on this very topic of adaptive leadership. So my question straight away is, can we use the model of psychological safety and the specific measurable, achievable, relevant time-bound, which is called SMART model, to kind of, support and drive adaptive leadership to a conclusive, logical conclusion? So we have this concept of SMART, which is about specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound model, and the psychological safety, okay, which has to do with, moving away from micromanaging to macro-managing. So can these two be used to sustain and support adaptive leadership? That's my question. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Lambert.
Yeah,
please.
They are veritable concepts, and they are applicable in adaptive leadership. Let's just keep it there because we don't have time. Yes, they can be used because they are veritable concepts. So it's now situational. You need to make sure, depending on the environment, that you do not say because he's smart, then measuring, and all that takes the whole day. So if it's in an agile environment, you have to be brisk about it. That's just what I have to say. Thank you.
And Dr. Sorry, my one and only.
It's exactly the same thing. SMART, SMART, psychological safety, as is kind of summarizing everything we've just said. Psychological safety lends itself to emotional intelligence. The whole SMART model is talking about structure within and creating flexibility within certain structures. So, in a simple way, yes, the answer is yes. Like Dr. Lambert has also said, it lends itself to a flexible and adaptable leadership style.
Thank you so much, Ma. So we still continue with you on the final advice, what you would offer to aspiring project leaders trying to lead adaptively in unpredictable project environment.
Yes, like I started with, you need to imbibe the adaptive leadership style as a lifestyle model. So it's reflective in every aspect of your life. It becomes like second nature to you. Even making daily decisions requires some form of adaptability and flexibility. Develop a human-centric or a people-centric leadership style. At the end of the day, our problems are made or solved by people. We can have all the systems, we can have all the processes in place. People will either solve it or people will make it fail. So ensure that you build the relevant relationships. Drawing on my bald frog syndrome mention, embrace uncertainty. It will come, whether you like it or not. Anticipate uncertainty. Listen, learn, watch the trends, and be able to dot the lines, to see where the trends will lead you to. Again, lastly from me, and I know Mr. Olufemi has said a lot on the conclusions. Always begin with the end in mind, right? When you lead with purpose, when you lead with guided values, the chances of going wrong is minimized. While we might have good plans and strategy on paper, if we do not create the right structure and carry people along with a shared purpose, then that project is, may not succeed. So always begin with the end in mind, create a big picture, and carry people along. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my one and only Dr. Lambert.
Yeah, Mercy, thank you. Yeah, what I have to say is to be an adaptive leader, don't strive to be the hero. That's the watchword. Strive to be the guide. Adaptive leadership generally is not about having all the answers. I mentioned something about facilitative workshops, brainstorming workshops, so that you can, have the heartbeat of your team. It's about creating the space where the best answers can emerge. It is not about you. You are not a superstar. That's on one side. As an adaptive leader, you have to stay curious, lead with empathy. Dr. Temi said, embrace uncertainty, because I believe it's an invitation to grow. Finally, remember that projects may have deadline, but leadership is a lifelong journey. Invest in learning. If I say learning, it's like Temi said, it's not just about reading. Learning through association, through conferences, through so many ways, in becoming the kind of leader people trust in a storm. Because whether you're a leader and people don't trust you when there is a storm, you are not a leader. People don't have to trust you only when the sun is shining. So those are the final words. And
all right.
Let's enjoy.
Enjoy. Thank you so much, Olufemi Ajayi, my one and only Dr. Temitope Iluyemi. What's the meaning of Iluyemi? Town owns me, right?
The town loves me
The
or values me.
Iluyemi, and our Dr. Lambert of Wewu. Thank you so much for all the wonderful insights. Thank you all for your valuable insights. This has been an incredibly rich session, I must say, and I'm sure I'm speaking the mind of my audience. So right now, on behalf of Rome Business School, Nigeria, I thank our panelists, Olufemi Ajayi, Dr. Temitope Iluyemi, and Dr. Lambert of Webu, and every other person, everyone behind the scenes. Let's continue to lead with resilience, reflection, and adaptability. We've had it all. So please, it's not just hearing it here, it's putting it into actions and getting the result that truly matters. Thanks once again for joining us, and thank you. Okay.